The planet Kalon, sand as far as the eye could see. A veritable dust bowl under a crimson-colored sky. A strong breeze whipped the sand around the dime-a-dozen dunes. Breaking up the relentless vista, a battered, faded crimson hovercraft-like vehicle sat idle, entrance open. Acrid smoke billowed furiously from the hull. Outside the vehicle, lying face down in the sand, a man showed no signs of life, only those of a battle lost. Whatever went down here for this fellow, it hadn't ended well. A shimmering, hulking, ice-gray ship drifted into view like a gigantic, metallic scorpion blessed with wings, whipping the sand below into a frenzied protest. It descended abruptly. Then, with a crash as it hit the ground, a ramp emerged almost simultaneous to the landing. 4 panther-like creatures burst from the hatch and raced down the ramp. Despite looking like big cats from the jungle, they ran on 2 legs and clutched powerful blasters in their claws. All stood over 7 foot and were clad in battle armor. Their harsh, russet-colored coats and luminous eyes complemented their fangs and claws. They stomped past the body of the lifeless man lying in the sand. One kicked the cadaver on the way past. Unseen by the creatures, the man slowly rose to his feet like a specter. Adorned in a tattered military uniform, the human in his late 20s had a wave of blonde hair and an anchor earring. He smiled grimly and lit a cigar. He sucked in deep, enjoying the hit. The burning sensation in the lungs. It felt good to be alive. He knew he should have been dead several times over. So what he was about to do wasn't as preposterous as it seemed. Their lucky charm, Deacon, was among them, he mused, wishing for a moment it was him. Still, if his only purpose was to protect the chosen one, then so be it. Atop a rock, another man watched on, a burly, towering, ham-fisted brute named Ivor, sporting a crew cut. This man was another survivor who shouldn't be here. Sleep-deprived and in a crumpled uniform, he shook his head, struggling to keep his tired, red eyes open. He sat clutching a rifle with a long muzzle, a sniper's weapon. He looked through the scope, nestled the stock into his shoulder, and adjusted the view until it focused on one of the creature's heads. He considered the plan. He pondered how the wheel had spun and the path had opened up before them. Survival. Nothing more. When you should be dead, breathing became something more than an unconscious action. To stay alive depended on how they performed today. It was showtime. Their bold and daring plan, formed by their comrade Deacon, was their last straw. He eyed his yellow-haired compatriot Bo, who the creatures hadn't seen yet. He took a deep breath. Death was not a welcome release. It was rolling over and giving up. If the creatures won, so be it. But he would make a point of going down swinging. He began to squeeze the trigger. The monsters continued to advance with suspicion. The sound of blaster fire buzzed through the air, and one of them fell to the ground. The other 3 crouched and turned to see Bo jump to his feet, alive and now wielding dual silver pistols. "Die, shitbags!" he shouted hoarsely in an English accent, his mouth dry and full of nervousness as he whispered a silent prayer, knowing it was now or never. Bo fired again and again, white-hot energy striking and felling another one of the abominations. The young man, careful not to lose his cigar, grunted in triumph. The other 2 creatures returned fire while running for cover. 2 more humans, Deacon and Poppy, appeared from behind a dune, running at full clip. Deacon, older than Bo and Ivor, was an Aboriginal man in his early 40s with a receding hairline and enough worry lines around his face to tell 100 stories, none of them ending favorably. He wore a golden pendant and kissed it. It was part eagle and part lion. the eagle harking back to Babylon of old, while the lion was a memory of the Medo-Persian Empire that feasted on Lydia, Babylon, and Egypt in the annals of Earth's history. He fired his pistol at the creatures, wincing and missing. A shot was returned and narrowly missed him. He hurled himself into an ungainly roll and nestled next to Poppy. His hand trembled as he raised his weapon. "Smooth," Poppy muttered acerbically in an Australian accent. She was in her early 30s, strength and fire evident in her eyes. She held the heaviest weapon of all of them, which juxtaposed with the single purple flower in her hair. The barrel of her weapon spun, and sizzling energy rained around the two remaining aliens. One of them fell dead while the other took heavy fire and a round in the leg. With a snarl, the surviving creature growled and went on all fours, leaping away with surprising alacrity, rolling twice before finding his paws. Pulling a dagger from its boot, he threw it at Bo. The dagger whizzed over Bo's shoulder, and he dropped one of his pistols. He trained the other on the creature, which was now running toward him. The creature leapt, Bo fired, and nothing happened, the pistol misfiring and powering down with a whir. A giant claw lashed at him and knocked him to the ground. Bo, now on his back with the creature standing over him, swallowed fear as Poppy got down on one knee to try and get a bead on the monster. Deacon raised a pistol, but his hand trembled so much he dropped his gun. The creature raised a claw. Blaster fire rang out. The creature growled and was struck in the back. As Bo cowered, the monster fell on top of him. He squirmed from underneath it as Deacon and Poppy ran to join him. Bo got to his feet and saluted Ivor, who waved back coolly, then ran toward them. Deacon trembled, wiping sweat from his brow. "Can't believe they walked into our little trap," he said in a native Australian accent. "Not like you to let Ivor get one up on you," Bo said to Poppy, a little hostile. "You getting rusty?" She took a breath. "Yeah, no. I couldn't get the shot." "Couldn't or didn't want to?" Bo asked, nursing some scratches. "Quit it," Deacon said. "You're alive, aren't you?" Bo grimaced as he touched his fresh wound. "No thanks to you. Having fun playing old potato with your gun over there, were ya?" Ivor arrived and looked down at the dead creature, then at Bo. He spoke in a Southern American accent. "2 kills for me, 1 for Bo, and 1 for Poppy. Nothing like taking down a Tharnian." "And none for me," Deacon muttered. "They'll be coming in numbers. Time for you all to move out." Poppy smiled at Ivor. "I'll let you have that one. I just want to see Bo shit his pants. Again." Ivor laughed. Bo did not. "You think I want to be doing this? No, I don't," Bo said. "I'd rather be sitting back at a blacksmith and a toffee maker, having a pint of lager and talking shite." "Well, you're still talking shit," Ivor said, almost smiling. "He'll keep you, Will," Bo sniggered. Poppy ignored them both and looked over at the giant scorpion ship, then at Deacon. "You reckon you can fly that bird?" "Let's hope so," Deacon said as he shook himself off, his face creased as he squinted against the sun. He looked at the ship and bit his lip. He took in the dead creatures and enjoyed a few deep breaths. "You know," she said, her brow creasing as she blocked his path, "I am the better pilot. Maybe I should try." Deacon focused on the ship once more. "I don't doubt that. But firstly, I'm an ex-Sparky, so if I need to hotwire that thing, I have a chance. And secondly, I need you to handle Ambrose." "Please?" She nodded and stood aside, allowing him to pass. Deacon nodded and ran towards the ship. "Okay, here goes everything." Ivor shook his train of thought and looked at the others. "And if you can't fly it?" "We're rooted," said Poppy flatly. Their eyes followed Deacon as he got closer to the alien ship. Doing what he could to keep his mojo together, Deacon picked up the pace.